Hello, welcome back. Today I am going to be making homemade chicken nuggets. Um, the weather here is beautiful. It's going to be, I think, 73 today. It's March. Yesterday was beautiful. I have the windows open. It's so nice. I've been congested, just a stuffy nose. No other symptoms. It's been like this for probably, this is day 4. I've had to take like a nasal decongestant. I don't know what it is, but I can't even breathe out of my nostrils unless I take medicine. But that's the only symptom I have, so I'm not really complaining. But if you saw my last video, you probably remember me saying that my cat had passed away and that my vet had a kitten in the waiting room. And when my cat's ashes were ready, I asked the lady, it was only about a week after. I didn't think that they would still have the kitten, but she said that they still had him. So I now have a new kitten. I miss my cat, but he reminds me a lot of my other cat. He does a lot of the same things. I will grab him. This is my kitten, Ralphie. Ralph Furley. I have a Stanley and a Furley. A Stanley and a Ralphie. Huh. Yes, he's so cutie, huh? Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna wash my hands. Okay, today's recipe is super easy. It's kind of a mix of my own stuff versus a recipe that I had seen on YouTube. I can't remember who it came from. I've been making it on and off for the past year and a year and a half. I'm not following a recipe, I guess, is what I'm saying. I am following specific ingredients, but I'm just kind of willy-nilly adding them to the mix. Normally, it says, well, the recipe that I originally saw said to use canned chicken, like a 12.5-ounce drained can of chicken, which I do have canned chicken, but, oh, there's the kitten. I have canned chicken, but I had a package in my freezer of ground chicken. I prefer to use ground chicken, or if you have chicken breast or whatever, just blend it up in a food processor and use that. It's cheaper if you blend it yourself than it is to buy ground chicken at the store. But I had it in my freezer and I wanted to use it. And to be honest, I think that using ground chicken is much easier. It just, I don't know what I want to say. It makes a better nugget. The shredded chicken from the can, it kind of doesn't always stick together as well. The ground chicken works better in my opinion, and I think it tastes a little bit better. But you can do whatever you got. If you have chicken from a can, it works perfectly fine. It just doesn't hold together as easily in my opinion. I have 9 ounces of ground chicken here because that's all I had in my package. I did weigh it, even though I'm just gonna willy-nilly add stuff to the recipe. It doesn't really matter. I'm gonna add garlic powder. You can add as little or as much as you want. You can add different seasonings. Whoa, don't add that much onion powder. My little plastic thing's gone. I should remember that every time and I always forget. Use Colby Jack cheese because that's what I have on hand. Usually I have shredded extra sharp, but right now I have Colby Jack that I'm still trying to get used up. My kitten is a little bit of a love bug. Some mozzarella cheese. Again, I'm not measuring it. If you don't like cheese, you can leave it out. I love cheese. I love pickles. If you've seen any of my other videos, I've said that before. This is pork panko. It's just the pork rinds from a bag that I ground up myself. But they've been in my fridge. I used them for something else, and I'm going to just add them here. I would say this is probably at least a tablespoon to a tablespoon and a half, maybe. I don't know. Again, I'm not measuring. This is what makes this so easy. I'm going to use some mayo. This is regular mayo, not fat-free. One thing about me, I cannot stand mayo. I think it's disgusting. But I use it for things like I do like chicken salad and deviled eggs and things like that, so I guess I can't say I hate it, but you would never ever would have seen me use mayo on a sandwich or anything ever. It's disgusting, but when you mix it up with stuff, I can't really taste it. And 1 egg is what the original recipe called for, but I don't know that I'm going to use the entire egg. Just because I don't have as much ground chicken or canned chicken, I guess, as the original recipe called for, I'm probably going to have to use my hands here. So I think I'm going to just kind of pour a little bit in here, and if I don't use all of the egg, I'll just add it to my omelet or whatever later. It's not a big deal. I won't waste it. I just don't know if I'm going to need the whole egg because I don't want it to be too wet. So it's a little bit wet, but they'll shape fine. They'll cook really well. I would probably add like pepper flakes or paprika or something as well, but my hands are dirty and this is real life. I'm lazy. I don't want to wash my hands again and then do this and then wash them again. So I'm just going to shape them into patties. This is a really big nugget. You do not have to make them this big. You can also, if you want to get that kind of like crispy coating that you get like when you buy them at Wendy's or McDonald's or whatever, they're not, I don't think they're dipped in breading or anything like that. Well, they are breaded, but they're not really dipped in like pork panko or breadcrumbs or anything. But if you wanted to do that, you could dip them in pork panko if you wanted to keep it really low carb. If you're just making them because you want them to be a little bit healthier than store-bought, you can use regular breadcrumbs and get that texture. You can fry them in oil if you want. I'm not. Air fryer works, but I'm too lazy to dig the air fryer out. So I'm just going to put it on a piece of parchment paper and stick it in the oven. Simple, easy. Honestly, I think they're really delicious. They're really good, in my opinion, with a little bit of barbecue sauce. Like I said, I use sauces, but it takes me quite a long time to get through a sauce. Sometimes they expire before I even finish it. But I do like the G. Hughes spicy barbecue. I'll show you the container when I come back later after they're done, in case you wanted to get it. I'll let you know how many nuggets this makes, and again, you probably get a lot more nuggets if you make them smaller. And if these are for kids, you probably don't want to make them this big anyway, but like I said, I don't really care. If you want them all to kind of cook fairly the same, you might want to make them a little bit smaller or make sure that they're at least all the same size. But again, don't care. This is real life. I know there are a lot of really great YouTube videos where everything is perfect and it looks like everything went smoothly, but that's not really how it works around here. This is actually going to make a decent amount. I don't even know if I'm going to eat all of them in one sitting. One thing that I would recommend, that if you do make a lot of them and you don't think you're going to eat them, I would just make the batter in, it's not batter, but you know what I mean. I would make the mix and put it in the fridge and cover it or whatever, because I think they taste much better cooked fresh the day of rather than reheating them, even in an air fryer. They just don't taste as good, in my opinion. So if you plan to make a lot of them, you could even par freeze them in the freezer and then stick them in a bag. I've done that before. They're really good. I just don't really recommend making them in the oven and then putting them in the fridge or the freezer and then just reheating them. I don't think they taste as good, in my opinion. You also want to make sure that these are 165 degrees or more before you eat them. I think that kind of goes without saying. This is raw meat. If you're using canned chicken, you don't have that same problem because obviously the meat's already cooked. But when you're using ground chicken, which again, in my opinion, I think works a lot better than the canned chicken, but the canned chicken is easy and convenient if you have it on hand, which I usually always have canned chicken for like chicken salad or things like that. And if you want to get really fancy, you can absolutely make these in the shape that looks a little bit better These are really just kind of balls. I'm not really even forming them into shapes the same. They're not all 100% the same size. If you're trying to get fancy with kids and get them to eat more things like this that are a little bit healthier than store-bought, I don't think it would work with a cookie cutter for these in particular because they're too wet and, you know, it's ground chicken. But if you used a cookie cutter, you could try to kind of get a shape out of them. It's worth a shot if your kid will eat it that way. If you're gonna eat it and you don't really care, I mean, it's food. I don't really care what it looks like as long as it tastes good. I have 10 nuggets, which is actually pretty good. I usually get about 14-ish, maybe, with the canned chicken, which is like 12.5 ounce canned chicken. I have the oven set to 400 degrees. You'll want to put them in for about 8 or 9 minutes and then maybe flip them over or just keep an eye on them and then maybe do another 8 to 10 minutes, whatever. Depends on how crispy you want them. They probably would get crispy in the air fryer, but again, not gonna do that. It's easy to just kind of set them and forget them in the oven as well. This is what they look like. Back of my pan is hot because the oven's on. Little blobs, not little blobs, I guess. They're pretty big nuggets. I don't really know the carb count, and I probably won't have an accurate carb count because I didn't measure anything. I just kind of threw it all in a pan. I'm not super worried about the carb count, to be fair. I mean, I do count my carbs and I do try to get, you know, a certain amount of carbs or less a day, but I'm not that worried about it. I think these would be really good if you put some paprika or even some red pepper flakes in it because I like things a little spicy, not super spicy, but a little spicy. I'm gonna put these things away and I will show you which barbecue sauce. I use this G. Hughes sweet and spicy. It's a little spicy, but it's not super spicy, but I really like it. I buy that one frequently. Well, a couple times a year, I guess I should say. For me, that's frequently. And I do buy this G. Hughes sugar-free steak sauce. I've had a really difficult time finding this at my local grocery store, but I think you can get all these online too, but you know. My store has some Primal Kitchen ones, which are better ingredients. I only have like 2 Primal Kitchen varieties or something at my local store. They're very hard to find, the Primal Kitchen ones for me. You can find them online, but unless you're getting a lot of stuff delivered to your house, it's not really worth, because I think unless you have Walmart Plus, I think even with Walmart Plus, I think you have to have like a specific amount before you get free shipping, and then you have to pay for delivery. Not delivery from Walmart, but you have to pay the driver who delivers it. So unless you're buying a bunch of stuff, it's probably not worth it. Like I said, Primal Kitchen does have better ingredients, but for as often as I eat these things, I don't really worry about it. The steak sauce has 1 carb per tablespoon, and the G. Hughes has 2 carbs for 2 tablespoons, and I think 1 to 2 tablespoons is absolute max I would use. I'd probably only use more like a tablespoon. I also have a I think it's G. Hughes. They have like a sweet chili one. They have a sugar-free version of it, and it's pretty good, but last time I bought that, which was early last year, I didn't use enough of it and ended up throwing it away. So I don't know, it was good, but I don't know if I would end up buying it again because I didn't use it enough to warrant the price that I was paying for it, and ended up tossing it in the trash. So, but these 2 I do use, I don't know, a couple times a month. I don't know. Again, use your own discretion. Like I said, it does have not bad ingredients, I guess. They're not the best ingredients, but it has sucralose in it. I mean, I've used sucralose before, even on low carb. I try not to avoid it, honestly, but I usually use xylitol or allulose. Again, if you have xylitol, it is toxic to dogs. It will kill your dog. Do not leave it anywhere where your dog, or even cat, I don't know if it's toxic to cats, but just be safe. Really paying attention to your sugar and your carbs. You could also use a sugar-free ketchup. G. Hughes has one of them that I buy. I do add that to, really I only add that to meatloaf if I make it, but like I don't eat anything where I dip. I don't dip my chicken nuggets in ketchup or anything like that. When I did used to eat chicken nuggets from McDonald's, I would sometimes dip them in ketchup, but I really liked them with honey. If you're not counting your carbs or whatever, you could dip them in honey if you want. They're not as heavily breaded, but again, you could coat them in breading if you wanted. It's just an easy thing that I don't have to take much time or effort in. You can mix it all together in one pan and stick it in the oven. Okay, they are done. About 18 minutes in the oven. This is what they look like. Last couple of minutes, you can put it on broil. That's a little crispy piece, or you can just turn the heat up the last few minutes or whatever. I like mine with a little bit of crisp to it. They're not really crispy, but a little bit more crisp. Little sauce. They're very good in the oven. There was something else I was gonna say. Oh, while they were cooking, I was thinking these would be really good if you use like ground beef or sausage or even ground turkey or whatever. Obviously, it wouldn't be a chicken nugget, but you could still make them in the same shape and have like little meat nuggets. I think that would be really good. Instead of just your regular meatloaf, it would take a little bit more time, obviously, to shape them, but, you know, rather than just loaf it and stick it in a pan. But if you have kids who won't eat, then you could use the same type of ingredients, just shape them different. I don't know. Kids are picky. I'm a picky adult, so I get it, but kids are picky too. But honestly, these are really, really good. And if you want chicken nuggets and you miss chicken nuggets, it's a really great little alternative. I could have breaded them with pork panko, but again, more effort to grind up more pork panko or more pork rinds. But again, it would be more effort for me to grind up pork rinds unless I already had the pork panko. But honestly, that just pork panko at the store can be a little bit expensive. It's about $7 for a container. I don't really even know how big the container is, but these are so good, and they got a little bit of a spiciness to it from the sauce. Ideally, I would have put some pepper flakes in it too, but do it however you want. They're yours. You can add any seasoning you want. They are delicious and easy, and it's a nice little change from just a chuck roast or ground beef or a chicken breast, pork chop. I don't know, the things that I eat all the time. It's a nice little change. So hope you make it and you like it, and come back next time. See ya. Bye.